Good morning. I'm Jim Branham, the Executive Officer of the Sierra Nevada Conservancy. As you can tell, we had a few technical difficulties this morning and running a little bit late. If you got the agenda there in front of you or on the wall, just push it down about 20 minutes, and we're going to try to give everybody the time we've allotted because I think we've got some important messages to deliver here today. This is the third annual Sierra Nevada Conservancy Symposium. This year we're doing it as a Webposium, as you can tell. This year's Webposium theme is Connecting the Dots. Wildfire, healthy communities, and healthy forests and watersheds. We have folks gathered around the Sierra this morning, so thank you all for being there. We have people in Susanville and in Quincy and in Oroville, Grass Valley, Cameron Park. We have folks further south in Oakhurst, Sutter Creek, Bishop, and Visalia. And here in Auburn, we have panelists who you'll be hearing from this morning, as well as Sierra Nevada Conservancy staff. So thank you all for participating. We decided to do the symposium in this manner this year for a couple of reasons. One, it's a big region, and we think it's much easier for all of you to be where you are rather than bringing all of you into one location. So we hope that has worked for you. Obviously, that allows us to lessen our carbon footprint a bit as well, which is important. And finally, we think it's a nice mix between being able to have information brought to all of you in your locations, and yet an opportunity for all of you to interact with each other and talk about what that means to you and deal with the differences that occur between various parts of the region. So we're excited about this opportunity. With trying new technology and new approaches, there are always some glitches. We hope we've passed the glitch for today, but stand by if we have more. There is a train that runs alongside our office, so when that happens, it's kind of noisy. You'll probably hear folks, or not hear folks talking, because I'll stop. So just bear with us on that if that happens. The way it's going to work today is we've got 3 panels this morning that will be providing information to you that address on-the-ground efforts that are occurring, that talk about kind of the imperatives for action versus inaction, and talk about some of the research and policy issues that are in front of us around these issues. We think we've got a great group of panelists who are going to provide a lot of good information. The format will be more conversational. Joan Keegan, our Assistant Executive Officer, will be moderating the panels and be, again, throwing out questions for folks to talk about. Given the panels we have no concerns that the time will not be filled with good conversation. This afternoon, we're asking you to stick around and talk with each other about what all this might mean to you in your communities and in your watersheds. What are the next steps and actions that might be taken to try to address the issues of today's forum? And we'll pull all of that together, make it available to everyone, and we'll be figuring out what the Conservancy is going to do next with that. This morning there will not be an opportunity for interaction from the various sites. That was, we thought the degree of difficulty to make all that happen was a little too high. So we'll do our best to try to be asking the questions that we think you might be asking, but as I said, we will be gathering the information from all of the sites and moving forward with that. Let me talk for just a moment about kind of the substance of today. We think the discussion today is a great fit for the mission of the Sierra Nevada Conservancy, which is to improve the environmental, economic, and social well-being of this region. When we look at the issues affecting our forest and our watersheds and our rural communities, we see tremendous opportunity. There is a lot of challenge, certainly. We see a declining economic base throughout much of the region. We see the threat of catastrophic fire throughout much of the region. And we see a changing climate, which is going to affect our region. But with all of those challenges, of course, come those opportunities. There's an ancient Chinese proverb that says if we don't change the path we're on, we're likely to end up where we're headed. We think it's a good time to change the path we're on and to look at some of these issues differently. We'd like to be in a position so that our children's grandchildren aren't asking the question of what were they thinking? How could they let this happen? It's a unique moment, I think, in many ways for the Sierra because of those issues I just mentioned, and an opportunity for us to really use issues that have, to some degree, driven us apart to be the very issues that can bring us back together, and that's really what this discussion is all about today, looking for those opportunities. With that, one of the reasons we think that the moment may be right to have this discussion and to take a different approach really is the leadership that is occurring within the United States Forest Service in the Pacific Southwest region, which is our region. Randy Moore has been on the job for a couple of years now here in headquarters in Vallejo as the regional forester for the Forest Service. He, along with Beth Pendleton, who sits on our board representing the Forest Service, have created a partnership with the Conservancy and with many others in the region that we think is somewhat unique. And we think that leadership provides us an opportunity to really address these issues in ways we haven't addressed them in the past. Obviously, the Forest Service is the major land manager in the region, a key player in any solutions we come up with that result in healthy forest and healthy communities. And we are very excited to have Randy Moore here with us this morning. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Randy to make some comments on behalf of the United States Forest Service. Randy?
Thank you. As Jim indicated, I'm Randy Moore, and I've been the regional forester for the Pacific Southwest region for almost 2 years now. And just as a point of reference, this region includes California, Hawaii, and the affiliated Pacific Islands such as Guam, the Micronesian Islands, Palau, and American Samoa. Since being here in California, I've had the opportunity to visit all 18 national forests in the state, including the 10 national forests within the Sierra Nevadas. I've also visited with many organizations and community leaders throughout the state. And in doing so, I sense that the time is right for all of us to move beyond the conflicts that have divided us for the past 2 decades and focus more on the things that we agree on rather than debating the issues that we cannot agree on. I believe that many of you share this view, so it's a pleasure to see the Sierra Nevada Conservancy take the initiative to convene communities throughout the Sierra Nevadas to discuss how we can all work together to provide sustainable communities and yet improve the health and resiliency of the land. It's clear to me that the goals of this conference are consistent with the goals that the new Secretary of Agriculture, Tom Vilsack, has laid out. In his announcement on the future of the nation's forests, and certainly the national forests, Secretary Vilsack emphasized the importance of public forests for providing clean water and a healthy environment for people. He also recognized that considerable restoration is needed in order to provide these values to society. The Secretary has encouraged us to accelerate the pace and scale at which we improve the conditions of the national forests. And he has also encouraged the department in general to work toward a all lands conservation approach. And so I'm hoping that you will consider this as you begin your discussions in communities throughout the Sierra Nevadas this afternoon. I also believe that the goals of this conference is consistent with my vision for the Forest Service in the Sierra Nevada. I will soon offer my guidance for reestablishing and maintaining resilient forests and rangelands on our national forests. We will define resilient ecosystems as those that can withstand natural disturbances such as fire, disease, and insects. But we should also look forward to the trends that we see developing and into the future, such as our changing climate. We will call this work ecosystem restoration or ecological restoration. And we will focus on 3 primary goals: the delivery of clean water, protection of our forests from large-scale disturbance, and maintenance and enhancement of other ecosystem services such as wildlife and fish habitat. We're confident that the ecosystem services, or as some people say, the human benefits from our restoration work will significantly contribute to the public values of national forests. We also believe that our work will help restore and maintain sustainable communities in the Sierras and elsewhere in California. So Jim, I'm really pleased to open this unique event and commit the Forest Service to working with communities throughout the region. I'm told that this webcast is being broadcast across 9 other locations throughout the Sierras, and I know that many of our employees are in attendance to these meetings. So I expect that the community-level discussions will produce some good ideas for all of us to consider. And I look forward to seeing the results of today's discussions. So in closing, Jim, thank you for the opportunity to join you and to help kick off this very important event.
Thank you.
Now I'd like to give you a short introduction to a video that the Sierra Conservancy would like to show next. As you know, the purpose of this conference is to consider new ways of working together in the Sierra Nevadas. One example of a different way of doing business has been in progress in the White Mountains of Arizona for the past 5 years. Citizens there have been working with our Apache Sitgraves National Forest to address many of the same issues that we face here in the Sierra. Their primary goal has been to reduce the risk of wildfire by removing small diameter material in ways that promote local economy. They've learned some valuable lessons that may be of value to you as you consider solutions to your areas this afternoon. Let me just mention a few of the elements that I believe have led to the success of this project. It was based on strong community involvement. The environmental community as well as the industry community is active participants. Focuses on small diameter material and ecological restoration. And we've established an independent monitoring group and funded it as well. Initial work was subsidized by the Forest Service to create the necessary infrastructure to help offer treatment costs. And the local community, environmental and industry groups, state agencies, and the Forest Service have worked together to create a market for small diameter wood products where none had existed before. Real benefits are occurring to the forest. Here's some of the noteworthy results from this project. It had no appeals and no litigation. It created nearly 250 jobs in the local communities. And the demand for previously worthless small diameter material has increased in fiscal year 2010 to about 24,000 acres. This is about a 400% increase from 40,000 acres have been treated to date, and they're now expanding this to include the entire forest of the Apache Sitgraves. So starting in 2011, the expectation is that they will begin treating about 30 to 40,000 acres annually. Now, the Forest Service still subsidizes the cost of treatments. However, that cost has steadily declined over the last 5 years. It went from a high of $800 per acre down to about $300 to $400 per acre now. If I was to compare what was going on in terms of a non-stewardship type project, that same types of treatment would cost anywhere between $1,200 and $1,500 per acre. The contractor estimates that subsidies will stop in 1 to 2 years as the economy recovers. So take a look at the video and consider whether the work that they're doing on the Apache Sitgraves will have some value for our areas here. We support this project, and we believe that long-term stewardship contracting that are developed with local communities have value for the Sierra Nevadas too. So I'm very excited to look at the results of this day. Stewardship contracting is one of those things that we think are an opportunity for us here in California, but more importantly, we're interested in what do you think. So Jim, thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Randy. We appreciate it.